Well, I think I should, hopefully, ideally, be good on my end now. For streaming. I think you know. I think I'm assuming you know, but I'm live streaming this. So don't not that I expect it to be an issue at all. But you can swear, you can do stuff like that, but like anything, we can't have anything super crazy extreme. But I don't. That never seems to be an issue for people. So no worries there. Um,
I can take it.
yeah, yeah. But so I guess I think a lot of my audience will recognize you from that Jubilee video you were in. But briefly, give us a little intro. Tell us who you are. What you do. If you have any social media you want to promote, you can do that as well. But I don't know if you do.
No, I don't. And my name is Gene Kutsovsky, and I was born in Soviet Union, and I escaped Soviet Union in 1989. Um, Lived in Europe, Austria, Italy for a little bit until I came to United States legally. I know it's a big part of the immigration right now, illegal immigration. So I came here, and I'm actually considering myself as a perfect example of the American dream. I came with a couple $100 in my pocket. I didn't speak English. Didn't know anybody here. Uh, I made myself quite successful person. So perfect American dream. Not like Elon Musk, but I'm I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think you should be sure. But yeah. Obviously, you went on the Jubilee video to talk to Luke Beasley. He's another, I guess, liberal, well, much bigger than me, but liberal content creator dude. Um, so I guess I'll let you kind of choose where to start. But the thing you went up there to talk to him about was the economy, because that was one of his prompts. I think you talked a little bit about tariffs, and then you briefly touched on the big beautiful bill. Um, but also I mentioned I was curious and following up on also it's like some stuff related to his other prompts, specifically with Trump and sort of if he's like a threat to democracy in any way. I guess I can lay out my position if you want, and we can kind of pick.
I'm
You
laughing.
can,
Yeah, I'm laughing at that. It's just people who completely don't understand the politics and who doesn't know history. They're the ones who do those claims. This is just a laughable comment, from those people.
I mean, which one exactly is laughable? I don't,
Okay. With all this no king protests, it just silly. There is no if Trump would be a king, there would be no protest. You understand that,
I mean,
Uh, if
I don't
he
think
go ahead.
no kings. It's not like saying Trump is like literally an all-out dictator or anything that doesn't allow any protest or whatever. But I do think obviously many of the ways that Trump is acting is king-like. It suggests that he wants to be a king. So I mean, even if you look at his first term, like the attempt to stay in power after losing the election, it's obviously something very king-like. If you look at stuff now, bringing a lot of independent agencies under his control via executive action, doing things like schedule off appointments where he is saying like for civil service workers who historically have been like sort of independently chosen or whatever can now be chosen by Trump or fired for Trump for political reasons. Any of the sort of in some cases the court has come down on in favor of Trump on this stuff, but like any of the stuff with regards to not spending money Congress is allocated, or like doing the when it first came into office the budget memo freezing a lot of federal spending. All of that stuff is stuff that is king like. It suggests that Trump wants to act like a king, behave like a king, and I do think those are
Yes,
concerning.
I understand. Well, as a business owner myself, and watching what Trump doing, a lot of people just don't understand that. First of all, we're in debt right now.
Hmm.
We're in serious economic problems with the debt. And if you If you take the country as a family, right? Family economics, when hardship strikes and you need to cut your spending, that's what you do. This is the same with the country we have now. Meaning, before we start spending any money, we have to save money to cut the fat what we're spending. The government is, for the past, under Biden, grew enormously. For the past, I think, 8 months of the Biden administration, if you look at the detail of the labor, the hiring, you can check what's the percentage of the labor was actually hired in the government. Big portion of it. Why?
Well, so I think with regards to a couple of things you
What
said,
we're going to do to others, he trying to run a country as a business. Because let me tell you, let me ask you a question. What do you think
sure,
what the number one what's the most important part of any country?
the most important part of any
I don't.
country.
What is that?
That's very broad. I don't know how to answer that.
It
Like it's
is,
just
but
the things I look for, like for a successful country, like markers of one at least, is like broadly like a democratic government, a transparent government, one with rule of law, and generally private property, some like free enterprise that exists there, um, and sort of just broadly how strong the economy is. Like those are the two like big markers of success for a country to me, like how democratic it is and how well the economy is running.
100% agree. Economy is the most important. Kind of without belief in a trickle down economy theory, right? I don't believe it's a theory. I believe
Uh
it's
huh.
true. It's true nature there. If you look on any revolution, anything happens. Look at the history. The fall of the country starts with the dictatorships, and it comes when the economy crippled.
Sure.
So
So I
so
on
when
those.
it and let me kind of a little bit goes down to that. When majority of people have a hard time live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, there was always will be people living paycheck to paycheck. We're not going to talk about why it's a different, but it doesn't matter how wealthy this country is. There's always poor people. It could be
Sure.
less or more in any country. Okay, so there would be other. So, but when middle class hurting big time, it goes down even to the point where the divorces, jump over 60, 70% because the hardship and money, it's really hard on a marriage. Obviously, it's effect on the children, all this. So economy to me is the number one thing. When you have good, healthy economy, guess what? There is plenty money to pay for any social programs, for any
Mhm.
that help for anyone. Without my,
Sure.
and I will say, and guess what? All these programs we have in any country, it's paid by the capitalism. Without capitalist money,
I don't so I don't entirely disagree with that point. So I mean the things I would just mention here, for one, we could say like a dictatorship like always starts with the economy crashing or whatever, and that that enables people to come to power that are bad or whatever. I think a big reason Trump won was because people were upset about the inflation that happened under Biden. How much of that was actually Biden's fault or Congress's fault or the Federal Reserve's fault? We could debate as well. But like I think
there is
the
no
sort
debate there, my man. There is no debate at all.
well
This is
it's not
this is Biden's full 100%. The trillions of dollars he printed and dumped in the economy is
mhm.
what it did.
Sure. So we can
He
hold
was
on. I do want to discuss that because I don't think 100% of the blame can be put on Biden. But regardless of who is to blame, people were upset with the inflation that happened under Biden, and they voted in Trump. And I think we have seen Trump behaving in ways that are king-like, that suggest that he wants to be a king. Things like schedule off
Okay,
appointments, things like freezing
give me
spending,
an example.
and
Give
even
me
even
an example.
so, for example, invoking the Alien Enemies Act to be able to deport people with a, like, I would say, without due process. The Supreme Court has said that many of the deportees were deported without a sufficient level of due process
Compare to whom?
compared to any other president who did not invoke the Alien Enemies Act.
Go ahead, Fed check me. It's
Did
exactly
no modern
Clinton.
president has invoked the Alien Enemies
Yeah,
Act. I think the last
that's
time it was invoked was
okay. But you
1800s.
can check because Clinton and Obama did exactly the same thing. There was
Nope.
no due process. You want to tell me the millions of people who Obama deported had a court date?
They didn't all have court dates, but they all did have some. They had rights to seek relief. They had like judicial boards to appeal to. They had boards of people to appeal to. The people, many of the people Trump detained or has deported
Oh,
under the
you
Alien Enemies Act, which in and of
oh
itself, Trump,
no,
you know,
it's not. It's not. It's physically impossible. I think Obama deported over 3 million people.
mhm.
Uh, there is no way. We have no manpower to process so many.
So they
Uh,
didn't go through. You're correct. Like Obama did expedited removal for many people, and it was a like sort of lower level amount of due process than what is like given to naturalized citizens when they're charged with a crime or whatever. But they still all had boards to appeal to.
I mean,
They were
well,
many
anybody can appeal. It doesn't.
many of the people Trump deported were not
Made
able to appeal. There were people deported by the Trump administration who were given documents that were only in English and told false things about what the document said and made to
that
sign
was
them. There
exactly
were
the
people. Trump was, just to be clear. Do you agree that Trump had people on planes about to be deported before the proclamation of the Alien Enemies Act was like made public? Even like he was literally
yeah
rounding people up to put them on planes.
using existing laws.
So I mean, I
Exactly
think
the same
I
law
mean.
Biden used. Biden used the same laws by Obama and Clinton. It's
So number one, it's not the same law. This is Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act, which has not been invoked since it might
okay.
have been invoked in the 1800s.
Under which laws Obama was deporting illegal immigrants?
I don't know which statutes Obama was supporting illegal immigrants under. I would assume it's the whatever Immigration
So
Nationality Act we've had in the
that's
1980s and stuff.
okay.
But regardless, uh, Trump
Immigration
invoked. I just want
as
to.
an
We're talking about.
immigrant.
We're not talking about. So the law here doesn't
Yeah,
like.
let's move on because this is the separate
What
issue. But
I want to focus on this one part. So,
okay,
regardless of which laws they're being deported under, number one, I do think it's worth mentioning a president can do legal things that are authoritarian, even if they are legal. But number two, the point of me bringing this up is to say Trump, in I would say dubiously invoking this act because he is stretching the definition of invasion with regards to the Alien Enemies Act. But he had people like being round up, deported, being put on planes, about to be deported, who were not even informed under which act they were being deported under, and who had no due process in that they couldn't actually seek habeas, and this was
what?
done before the proclamation was even made public.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But you need to understand that there is this is actually very interesting that you're saying because when my daughter was in high school, um, she came to me. I think she was in high school at that time, and he started talking to me about illegal immigrants.
Hmm.
That was early 2000s and maybe 90s. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Uh, so this is the same thing. When she was talking about the any rights for any people, the phrase when it's illegal immigrants, all I had to do is just stop. What did you just said? The illegal stop. This is the key word. Illegal. What are we talking about? These people illegally came to this country. What I mean, after that, there is no conversation moving forward. They
So
broke the they broke the law. I'm an immigrant myself. I
Hmm.
went through the legal process to come to this country, and I'm gladly appreciative to all Americans for giving me opportunity in life I have now. But I used every law in the book to legally come here with my family and become the American.
Right.
I
So, but this is the
must
language of the
become
Constitution, and the Supreme Court has interpreted it this way as well. Is that all persons subject to the jurisdiction of the United States are entitled to some amount of due process. Illegal immigrants, even if you cross the border illegally, you're still entitled to at least some amount of due process. You're still in the jurisdiction of the United States, for these proceedings or whatever. And
I am
I would just say again, this is a ruling that the Supreme Court made that many of the detainees who were deported under the Alien Enemies Act, did not have a sufficient level of due process. And in the future, Trump has to do better with regards to informing people what act they're being deported under. And then, a few months later, there was another ruling saying that he actually
this
hadn't
is
gone far enough still.
the
But
interesting fact about illegal immigration, where the right now the Trump administration, Trump himself, whatever, there was said that if you leave the country on your own, you're not going to be denied to try to apply and come back to this country legally. Check. Oh,
that
you're not.
it
Okay,
wouldn't it
you
wouldn't
can check
surprise
it.
me if that was
So
the case, but
basically,
that doesn't seem particularly relevant to.
if you voluntarily leave the country, you're not deported. You'll be allowed to apply to come back to United States. I think it's
Sure, it wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me if Trump has said that. Now, I'll mention obviously the reason it came here illegally in the first place is partially because the path to get here legally is usually pretty complicated. Usually, there are 10-year long waiting
there is
lists
nothing. It
from these
doesn't matter.
places. But I'm not saying that
Do you
excuses
wanna
illegal
do you wanna
immigration.
ask me?
I'm
Do
saying
you
it's
wanna
probably not
ask me?
feasible for many of them to
Do you wanna
actually.
ask me? Do you wanna ask me how long I've been waiting to come to United States?
I'm sure you did everything great and legally, and you waited a long time, and that's fine. But the thing I'm more concerned about
So this
here
burning
is the
me just
president
mention.
invoking emergency powers. I would say almost
This
certainly
is the
illegally.
tools. This is the tools. This is the tools, and this is legal tools to remove illegal person persons from the country.
You acknowledge the Supreme Court
Illegal.
has already.
They broke the law. This is the law. In any country, there
But
would be no.
Trump also. What I'm saying is Trump is
You
breaking the
know,
law too. If you care so much about the law, you should care that Trump is breaking the law in the way that he's doing many of these deportations.
there is a crime. Is there a
Not
crime?
so. Breaking the law is not always criminal. So
Yes.
in this
To
case, I
come
don't
to
think
this
there's a
country,
criminal action by Trump, but
to
I think
come
Trump
to
has
this
done other
country,
criminal actions.
to come to this country illegally. What is that?
Oh, so yeah, you can break the law by coming to the country illegally. Sure. Now I will mention, like some of the people who were deported. In fact, like the headline person, plaintiff in the case one of the cases I'm citing, JJGV Trump. He was actually awaiting an asylum hearing when the Trump administration, when like ICE officials, scooped him up and put him in a holding cell. So like he was going through the legal asylum process we had, and
Listen,
because he had a tattoo that made him suspect of being trained to Algra.
majority of people, specifically now in the beginning, deported the dangerous criminals. The
No,
people
that's not the case. Well,
record.
that's not the first of all, that's not the case. The majority of people deported are not violent criminals. But second of all, that shouldn't matter. If you care so much about the law, if you're saying like these immigrants broke the law or whatever, shouldn't you be concerned that the president of the United States is
The
not following
problem
the
is,
law with
see,
regards to many of the deportations he's doing?
the problem is when you're a legal alien in the country, you can't you can't do anything with them. You cannot. They're not subject to the laws of the United States of America. Or
They're
that,
subject to this jurisdiction of the United States.
what jurisdictions? They came here illegally. They're not
The
supposed to
fact
be
that
here.
they're in the United States and being deported
Not be
by the
allowed.
U.S. And again, many of these people being deported were also asylum seekers who were like, there have been multiple people who were arrested while like showing up to a courthouse for their asylum proceedings.
Mm-hmm.
You acknowledge that's it. You might disagree with that legal process. That's fine,
I
but you
understand.
acknowledge it is legal to claim
They came
asylum at
here,
the border,
they were
right?
here illegally, and whatever cases they were presented, it was all bogus. There
But
was not, it doesn't. You can. The case was decided already because the
no,
people
these
who
people's cases weren't. I don't know. These
get
people's cases
the
weren't decided. They'll
asylum.
never be decided because they were deported before their case got heard.
Exactly, because they have to make sure when they come to this country, because I came as a political refugee.
hmm
So I'm the perfect example how when you're a political refugee and you have a strong case where your life under threats, United States will take you. Not
Sure,
when you
but
come
you
over
acknowledge.
the board,
I would
board.
even. I would even say many of the people claiming asylum, if they actually went through like once they actually got their hearing, it would be ruled that they were ineligible because many of them probably came here primarily for economic reasons as opposed to like genuine fear for their lives. But
Yes,
with the laws we have on the book right now, it is legal to go to the border, go to a port of entry, and claim asylum. There are immigrants who did that. You may not like that we have those laws, and to some extent, I agree with you, and I think we should reform our asylum laws. But Trump deported those immigrants, or the ICE did, under Trump's directive once they showed up to their court
this
hearings,
is all
or
this
before
is
they did even.
really see this is all these people who is screaming at Trump right now.
hmm
The same people who said nothing when Obama did exactly the same thing.
I've already
There was
explained to you. This is you.
no,
You
no, no,
agree
no.
Obama did not invoke the
Especially it's
Alien
not.
Enemies Act, correct?
No, it doesn't matter. He deported. He deported illegal immigrants. So the Clinton
We're not talking about just
did
deporting legal
exactly that.
immigrants. Every
The
president, or at least every modern president, has
Trump had
deported.
no choice to do that because when he tried to apply the same laws, what Obama and Clinton did, there was no judge
I don't.
who was issuing all these stoppages and all that hearing against what he was doing.
I don't know why you keep saying the same laws. Obama did expedited removal. Now I forget what I don't know what statute enables expedited removal proceedings, but that's not what Trump is doing. Well, there have been some immigrants deported with expedited
It's
removal, but you
exactly the
acknowledge Trump is
This is
invoking the Alien
exactly
Enemies
this is
Act.
exactly the same thing. And guess what?
Hold on, I just want to be clear. Do you
People
agree that Obama and Clinton and all these other presidents never invoked the Alien Enemies Act?
because he didn't have to, because nobody was
So then
opposing.
why do you? But you acknowledge this is not like the same laws, right? Like Obama, Clinton doing expedited removal is very different from Trump invoking emergency
You need
powers
to
with the
go
Alien
on
Enemies
because
Act, pretty
you
dubiously because
can't
he's hardcore stretching the definition of invasion,
without
and then using that to
without
deport people without
okay.
due process. As the Supreme Court has already
Prove
ruled.
You cannot prove that Trump did not use the same rules what Obama and Clinton did.
What do you mean I can't prove that?
You
Just
you
look.
you
Trump
can okay.
openly
Where
announced
is
that.
okay? Which okay? The resistance of what Trump doing it, and all these liberal judges put a stoppage to deportation.
Hold on, this is not even liberal judges here. This is the Supreme Court. There have been multiple times actually. The Supreme Court has said like there were immigrants deported without sort of proper due process, and in the future, Trump has to afford immigrants more due process when being deported.
What's
That's
the
like
last?
that's
What was Supreme Court? His last, as far as I understand, Supreme Court did support Trump's the law.
they've supported Trump on some
Yeah,
things. I don't know, and they said that the actual invocation of the Alien Enemies Act is like sort of
we
not subject to
we
judicial review. But they also said that
exactly
there were immigrants. So the people I'm
we
talking about,
had
immigrants,
millions of millions illegal immigrants. We didn't know nothing
some of
about.
them, again, some of them
We don't
were
know how
going through the
many.
asylum process and were
You
deported
know,
for their court hearings. But
I feel. I mean, as an immigrant, I feel for those people more than many Americans cannot even understand. They they can't understand. I physically understand those people, but
sure,
respect the law of the land.
But you know, there were people.
illegally
If you want,
to
okay. Do you
come
think
here
Trump?
legally to
You
come here.
understand Trump is not
We need to
respecting the law
stop.
of the land, though.
It doesn't matter. We're talking
Okay,
about
it doesn't matter.
legal, illegal people who broke the law the first come to this country.
Again,
That's it.
so number one, I've explained to you multiple times. There are many people who were not like necessarily breaking the law because they claimed asylum, which is a process that they were legally entitled to do under Biden.
And
At least Trump
you're
has frozen a
talking
lot of
about
those things,
you and
and they were
I
deported before
understand
their court hearing even.
yeah,
But
you
secondly, if
can't
you care
have
so again, if you care so much about the law of the land, it feels like you should care about the fact that Trump is doing things like invoking emergency powers, not just with the Alien Enemies Act. I mentioned a few other things he's done too that I think are against the law of the land. In order to deport people without due process, or in order to tax us
every
without our
I mean
consent, or in order to.
every president has the tools he operated with it's not illegal what he does.
Okay,
His campaign promise and majority of the people who vote for
why are we
him.
citing the majority of the people for any of this stuff? That's not relevant when it comes to whether or not like these things are legal or illegal. I think if you look at the polling, there were a number of people. I don't. It might have been the majority of some polls who supported mass deportations or whatever.
One
But
of these
that is
one
no
of these
bearing with regards to whether certain ICE raids are
okay,
legal, with regards to certain deportations were
why are
legal.
we electing politicians? In this case, the president, because they promised to do something what we want.
That's not relevant to what we're talking about
Americans,
here. And like,
majority of Americans, that was his number two promise to American people to deport illegal immigrants. He is doing what he was promised because he was
I mean,
elected.
if you look at Trump's approval rating on immigration, even I'm pretty sure it's like 13 points net negative on that.
Yeah,
Regardless, I don't think.
it's all jumping. You know what? Before the 2024 election, the day
Mhm.
before, all polls was showing Trump under that Kamala Harris will win. We
Yeah, but
serious
hold on. I understand polls like might not always predict who can win the election, but right now the thing that
majority
you
of the
cited, you were
polls,
saying people like
majority
majority
of the
supported
polls was
deportations or
showing
whatever,
him.
and I'm telling you now that of Trump's approval, whatever it was before the election, people have seen what Trump is doing, and by now people don't support what Trump is doing. It's like I think it's negative
Okay,
13 points or whatever in immigration,
now
but
look
this
at
also
any
has no bearing on the legality.
okay, look at any president's approval rating when they were elected and between the election and midterms, and you will see every president was down. There is
I
nothing
don't know. Didn't George Bush go up?
usual for. Go ahead, check it.
I mean, I'm fairly certain there's got to be some that that's not the case with. But again, the thing, if you're
I'm just responding
not
to
this,
your claim. I'm responding
okay.
to his. You're talking about his approval right now, and I'm just telling you this is normal for any president
I don't
to
know if this big of
your
a.
approval.
I don't
Just
know. So wait, just to be clear, I looked at this is the latest Nate Silver thing is Trump is negative 4.9% approval, net approval on the immigration issue. But the thing that you said is that people like these mass deportations are like okay because like Trump was elected to do this. People are elected on the basis of wanting these deportations or whatever. Well, by now people don't want that. So presumably, I would hope that you would want the president to respond to that. But even if you don't know whatever, like again, this has no bearing on the actual legality. Like you keep going back to the law of the land or whatever, and I keep mentioning to you like there are cases already where the Supreme Court has said there were immigrants deported without proper due process. Trump himself admitted that Abrego Garcia was deported due to administrative error or whatever, and that was certainly illegal. You get you. I mean, Trump himself acknowledged that. You know that, right? Like,
and
and if you
so
care so much about the
still,
law of the land,
we
you should be
we
concerned and
still
upset about these things.
everything law at the land stops at the word illegal.
That's not true. What do you mean?
Yes, it is
If you're
true.
subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, you are entitled to some
It's
level of due process.
exactly like if you're a criminal and you're in prison, you cannot vote. Why?
Um,
Because you're a criminal, because you broke the law. So
I
anybody
mean
who
that's
can
up to the states first of all, but second of all, the people who go to prison are entitled to due process. They have a right to, for example, seek habeas while they're
Yes,
being
as an
charged, while they're
American,
being arrested.
as an American citizen.
Not obviously, like thing I'm telling you, and like you can just look this up or whatever. Anyone who is subject to the jurisdiction of the United States is entitled to some level of due process. Visa
You
holders
know,
are entitled to due process.
hold on a second. Hold on.
Asylum seekers are
I
entitled to
want
due
you to
process.
take a look. I want to take how many. We need to find some common ground on something. Okay. For me, economy is number one, right? So my approach is, just to look. First of all, how many illegal immigrants came to the under Biden administration? Do you have a number?
I don't know the exact number. It's like it's around 4 million or something, right? 3 to 4 million.
The official number was 12 million.
That's encounters, right? I don't know.
No.
That might be encounters over all 12 or
I
over all
heard,
4 years.
I heard as far as 20 million. I
Yeah,
never.
that's just a lie.
No, it's a lot. So the numbers was floating anywhere between 10 to 13 million.
I think the thing that you're citing is like I'm pretty sure that number is probably inflated too, but like encounters or whatever, and many of those people are turned around,
Oh, you're
and
talking
some of
about
those people are double
encounters.
counted.
You
I
can
mean,
check.
this is
We're talking
like
about the millions of people. Now,
according to the DHS, over 4 million migrants have of the migrants encountered have returned, and 20 to 25% encountered are repeat offenders, severely lowering the total amount during the Biden administration. Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. Like many of these people are either like double counted because they're turned around and then counted again or whatever, or they were just turned around at the border.
This is not the numbers I have.
I know, like
It doesn't.
all the MAGA
It
people like
doesn't.
cite the same numbers. I understand. Like,
Actually, this is not okay. It cannot be 4 million. I mean, this is laughable number. But anyway, even if we're gonna take this 4 million, let's
mhm.
take now. Can you tell me how much it's gonna cost to keep all these people, uh, feed them, to
Well, it depends on what
you
type of.
understand that there would first of all the judges we have, so we would need to hire more judges to
Mhm.
hear where we're gonna take those judges, how much money we're gonna pay them, and this is all government. Do you understand that economically it's gonna break our system if we're gonna put them through the due process.
Okay. I don't know how many, again, when I say due process, I like you can do the things that Obama and Clinton did or whatever, which apparently you don't take an issue with or whatever. We have procedures already for expedited removal, and that's it. They still have some right to seek habeas. They
Well,
still have
I
some
love that.
boards to appeal to, but it's not the
I
traditional like
love, I love that
mechanism with judges or whatever. But
expedited
the thing
removal.
I'm
What
being
is that?
concerned about here.
What is behind what is behind expedited removal?
What do you mean? What is behind it?
What
Even
behind
within expedited
what?
removal, there are different proceedings that I think you can have.
Expedited removal, that means no due process.
That's not true.
Yes, it's absolutely true.
They have like less due process in the sense that it's expedited. Like they're not going through a trial. They're not having a jury trial, but you still have a right to seek habeas. You're informed under what statute you're being deported under. You have all these rights, which many of the people deported by the Trump administration were not afforded. Like I guess I would just say, like to be like, do you think the Supreme Court when they were hearing?
This is the same thing.
Wait. I just want to. Do you think the Supreme Court like just didn't consider any of this when they made their ruling? Instead, there were many immigrants deported without due process, and that people deported under the Alien Enemies Act like have a right to seek habeas, and they were not afforded that right.
The
Do you think the
Supreme
Supreme Court just
Court
missed
is,
that?
and the reason they sided with Trump because economically it's impossible to put
That's
millions
not
and
true.
millions.
Hold on. Just to be clear, there are people like from the Supreme Court ruling. We can go through it and read some of it if you want. They said that like AA detainees must receive notice after the date of disorder that they are subject to removal under the act, and that must be afforded within some reasonable time span as such to allow the immigrant to seek habeas relief. And there were immigrants who brought this case against Trump who were not afforded those rights, and that's why the Supreme Court said in the future Trump has to afford the rights to these immigrants. And then later on, he failed to do so effectively still, but.
I, we're still talking. We can't. I think we need to move on because we're not going to prove anything to it. Again,
Okay.
me, it's a total hypocrisy for a lot of people from the left who is old enough, who lived and was active in the political arena under Obama and under Clinton, who was doing exactly the same thing, said nothing, zilch. There was no protest. There was nothing said there. They were supporting what they said. The Clinton, Obama, they said we're gonna deport, 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 and there was zero from anybody.
Not a, just I want to move on too, I guess, but I think I've already showed that they are
And
not
so
at all
this is
comparable.
a
But
pure.
they never said they wanted mass
This is
deportations, and they never invoked the
what?
Alien Enemies Act, and they
No, no, no,
never.
no, no. I can. Okay. Okay. This is we have multiple. You can go on the YouTube and you can see the exactly what Clinton and Obama was saying, including Hillary Clinton.
Don't believe Hillary Clinton ever called for
Oh,
mass deportations.
multiple.
I'm sure there are clips of Hillary Clinton saying she wants to deport, criminals or whatever, but I don't think they ever
You're
don't
not
think
going to
they ever
win
called
this
for mass
argument because
deportations. I
this
feel
is
like that's
exactly.
rather
This,
unlikely.
I lived. I really since early 1990s. I, when I came to this country, I had no idea the difference between Democrats and Republicans.
Hmm.
No idea. I had to research. I had to ask. I had to read, listen, and this is an interesting thing. This is kind of a personal what I experienced when I heard what Democrat Party, and back then in the 1990s they were not as crazy as it was now. I
No, I'm
was
gonna do
shocked
Trump is a
because
'90s
what
Democrat.
they were talking about, there was this is the country, there was a Soviet Union. This is where I just escaped from. That's what Democrat Party stands for. And I just want to tell to all your listeners, and
Hmm.
looking live right now, and I'm telling you, guys, the Democrat Party will, if you're gonna give them a power, unlimited power, what they want, they're gonna they're gonna turn this country in the Soviet Union, and you can take
Okay. Well, I'm fairly certain
which is
that's
gonna be which is
untrue.
gonna be controlled by the government. This is 100% true
I guess.
because
Look, I would just if we want to move on a bit from deportations, again, one of the things I brought up earlier that I was concerned about too is the actions Trump is taking with regards to things that I think are like many of the more authoritarian elements of the Soviet Union, where he's bringing a lot of independent agencies under his control. He's unilaterally, not spending money Congress has allocated or whatever. He's doing things like taking stock in Intel, taking stock in a bunch of mining companies. That's
can
obviously
we can
pretty.
we can we can we go to the bar talk, like we're sitting at the bar and having a drink, and I want to ask you, why do you want these illegal immigrants in your country?
Okay. So I don't necessarily want illegal immigrants in my country. Obviously, I think it's a mischaracterization to say like
I'm
Democrats
sorry, I'm
want.
sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't hear. Can you repeat that one more time?
I don't necessarily
I
want
want
illegal
them.
immigrants in the country. I think that's
That's what I
obviously a
meant to.
mischaracterization. I think that if we are to deport illegal immigrants, we should afford them some minimum amount of due process. You can do expedited removal, and I don't believe that I don't believe that like all just
We
because someone is an illegal immigrant
economically,
that they ought to be
we
deported. I think there
we
are like
don't
illegal
have
immigrants who
we
it's
don't
just not a
have
benefit to deport them. It's too expensive.
my
It's
man.
too much of a human cost.
We listen. We don't have money to put them through the due process. This is
I don't
impossible.
know. I
It's
don't know how
impossible.
many like I don't know how you're saying like oh
Okay,
I
let
understand.
me
I guess you
let
don't
me
think it's
use
due
let
process
me
or
use
whatever, but you're saying
unless
like Obama did all these deportations,
unless
Clinton did all these
unless
deportations, but somehow we
yeah,
don't have. Did
because
we did we
that was
run out of money since
expedited.
Clinton?
They had
Since
no due
Obama?
because that was expediting.
But
This
do
is
you
what
recognize that's, if you want to say that's still no due process, do you recognize that's more due process than afforded to the immigrant
why
supported?
don't you do, we can come back to that when we have more
Mhm.
facts on both sides. Why don't you research and dive deep how Obama did? What due process all those millions of
It seems like
people.
I know more than you. This is expedited removal. These people were still
What
afforded.
does it mean that it's okay? What does it mean?
It means they didn't go through the sort of traditional
Every
channels
one
that we
of them,
had, where you go through like the actual, like in some cases at least, the actual judicial system. You go through like a board that's
you want to
internal
tell
to the
me,
Customs and Immigration, or
you
like
want to tell
internal
me
to
that
ICE or whatever.
you want to tell me that every of those illegal immigrants who Obama deported, they saw, each of them saw a judge, and
I'm
they had.
literally not saying that. I literally just explained to you, they don't go through like the traditional judicial system. They go through, I believe it was a
And what
process
is the difference?
internal.
What
It was
Trump does?
internal to the
Trump
DHS. Like
does.
they had
Trump
DHS
doing
boards.
exactly the same thing.
That's not true. Do you recognize that you can
Illegal
have some minimum
immigrants.
amount of due process without
No,
seeing an
there is no
actual
due
judge in
process.
the judicial system?
That was expedite removal. It's exactly that means no due process.
That's not true. That's just definitionally not
Takes
true.
due process takes years. Due process take years. And I
Okay. In your
go on a
mind,
more
does
personal.
due process necessarily entail going through like the entire judicial system, like having a jury trial?
Can you just physically to understand for the government bureaucrats sitting at the table and going through the millions of the deals, okay, just physically, okay, to open, okay, Senor Garcia, okay, let's see, he claiming that he is, and you start reading, okay, that he can't go back to his country because he's afraid of his life, because he did this, he did this. So each person would take at least few minutes, and this is just kind of laughable, for somebody to read. Okay, how many agents we have, United States agents, go through the millions of cases, and then they have to check, right? They can't just trust whatever he said at the border, right? So you have to check it. You understand that it's physically impossible.
Okay. I just want to be. I don't think you. I literally think you like don't understand the words coming out of my mouth. I recognize people deported under expedited removal don't get a hearing before a judge, but they do like actually have a chance to like claim habeas relief in some cases. And I believe expedited removal it applies to a limited set of immigrants. I don't believe it applies to people who have been in the country for a number of years. I believe it was only really used for people who very recently crossed the border. But regardless,
Trump is not doing anything different that it was done
you
before.
have to acknowledge that he's at least doing something different, and that he's invoking the Alien Enemies Act, which is something that a president hasn't done in hundreds of years.
He has no choice, and that's what you're not listening.
But if you say he has no choice, you're saying he has no choice but to do something different.
Before he started deporting illegal immigrants, and then left-wing judges start putting the stop to it. So he had to invoke his authority of the president, because when exactly the same thing Obama was doing and Clinton was doing, there was no pushback whatsoever, and that's how the
I'm pretty sure there was.
he had
at least legally.
He had to do it. This is, you can check. This is the 100% what I just told you. This is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He was for.
I just want, when you say Trump has no choice but to do this stuff or whatever, you're saying Trump has no choice but to do something different than what other presidents have done.
Yes.
So Trump is doing something different, and that no other president in modern history has invoked the Alien Enemies Act.
He has to go to invoke this resolution because there was pushback from the judges. The same judges, and listen, these judges was under Obama, and some of them under Clinton,
Wait,
and
what?
raised, and they never did what they did to Trump. The same judges.
If
The
Trump isn't doing anything different, are you
judges.
saying the judge? I guess the judge allowed Obama to do the exact same type of deportations.
Yes.
Trump is. I don't think that's.
Thank you.
That's
No,
just not
thank
true
you.
because
And you
because obviously Trump is doing
me.
something very different with one
Check me.
invoking the Alien Enemies Act. True, he's going after immigrants. Obama certainly wasn't going after.
You just said the golden word.
I was just making sure that was your claim because that's an insane claim. Because that's
No,
not.
this is
That's
exactly
nowhere
this
in
is
the,
100%
remotely in reality.
The same judges who was sitting under Obama presidency, and all these illegal immigrants was deported. They never said nothing. Nothing.
Okay, but you recognize these were people deported under probably different well, certainly different statutes with regards to the Alien Enemies Act because Obama never invoked the Alien Enemies Act, and two, Obama was going after. Obama's going after like different types of immigrants. Like if you look at Obama's policy,
how many judges issued any orders to stop deportation under Obama?
I don't know how many judges issued orders to stop deportations under Obama. Now I bet if I googled it, there were probably lawsuits from like the ACLU who.
I can looked it before, and I have a number for you.
Is it 0? I bet if I looked into it, maybe I don't know if there were like a nationwide injunction or anything, but I bet there are almost certainly at least some lawsuits brought by people like the ACLU to prevent some deportations Obama was doing.
I mean, you have to give me some little bit of credit. Okay, what I'm saying, it's not the first conversation I have. Most of the stuff I'm talking about, now, and you have to agree that there is a lot of hypocrisy on both sides. And right now, there's a huge hypocrisy on the Democratic Party.
What on earth is the hypocrisy? The hypocrisy.
I
feel like I've already explained to you a number of reasons why it's not hypocritical to, for example, support Obama's deportations, even though I don't think many people on the left really do support a lot of the deportations Obama did, compared to Trump's deportations. I feel like I've already, just to be clear, repeat, I want to see if you're able to, what have I said that's different between Obama and Trump's deportations? You're able to repeat back any of the stuff that I've explained that I think are different between them.
One more time.
I want to see if you've been listening enough to be able to repeat to me what I have said are different, or what I think are different between Obama's deportations and Trump's deportations.
There is no difference.
But you recognize that I do think there's a difference, right?
Yes, I do.
So what have I said to you that's different?
And I'm trying to tell you that when Trump started deportation, he used the same laws what Obama was using.
Wait, to be clear, the thing I'm trying to get you to understand right now is I don't think it's hypocritical because I don't believe that, and I've explained the differences I see between them. I want you to repeat to me what I said the differences were, because I want to know if you've been listening at all.
Hold on. It doesn't matter what you believe or what I believe. There is just.
I just want to make sure you're hearing the words coming out of my mouth.
In fact, don't care about our beliefs or.
That's crazy. Wow.
So
wait, I just want to know. If you're able to.
I'm trying to answer your question. So the Trump started to deporting illegal immigrants under exactly the same laws what existing in the books, and Obama was using them. Now the only difference is, so when Trump started doing deportation, the judges start they start pushing back on it, and they had to go all the way to the Supreme Court. This is the biggest difference, because when Obama was doing exactly the same thing, there was 0 judges.
I just want to be, again, at the end of this, I'm going to ask you again to just repeat what I've explained the differences are, because I want to know if you've listened at all to what I view the differences between these
You just told me that you don't believe what I'm saying, so the conversation kind of, it's not.
That's not the wait. I just want to be clear.
I claim something.
My belief is that there are many substantial differences between Obama's deportations policy and Trump's deportation policy. I want you to repeat some of the differences I've listed, even if you don't believe they're true.
Well, because you believe that they went through the some due process, and I'm
Sure.
telling you that they did not do that.
Do
Maybe a
we?
few cases, because some of the cases, because as far as I remember, when Obama was deporting, there was a couple journalists from Mexico who was able to prove that they actually under threatening their lives if they're going to come back to Mexico because they were printing something against publications against cartels.
Okay, I don't know why we're moving to that now. Is that so?
Because this is
I
but
wait. Do we
majority of them,
recognize? I get you. By the
some
way,
of
you keep
them,
saying it's. You conceded earlier. Trump is doing something different by invoking the Alien Enemies Act. I don't know why
and
in the
yes,
whole in the rant.
and I'm trying to tell you because there was pushback from the judges, from the legal system.
That's not
The,
even
the,
the reason Trump said he invoked it. By the way, right?
yes, because those federal judges was putting was putting conjunctions what he was doing. So he has to go above the head, go all the way to the Supreme Court to do that.
Why didn't
This
Trump say that anyway?
you don't want to
Anywhere?
hear it. You don't want to hear it because he actually followed the law when
I'm pretty
the
sure you're just making this up. Like Trump never said I have to invoke the Alien Enemies Act because my other type of deportations are being removed. He said I'm gonna invoke the Alien Enemies Act because
why do you
people
think he has to
Trinidad.
do that? Because there was
I think
federal.
Trump wants to do it because Trump is like authoritarian. I think he wants to act like a king, and I think the Alien Enemies
And
Act gives him more power
and
to
I'm
deport
just
people
explaining to
more
you,
easily.
and
And I
I
think
just
it helps. I think it
explained.
helps. Like I think terror is like part of the point. I think like the way Trump's going about deportations, not just with the Alien Enemies Act, but with the sort of scope of ICE raids and how armed they are, and the fact that they are masked agents or whatever, and the fact that immigrants are sent to Sakat after they're being deported. I think that's like I think part of that is to invoke fear in immigrants so that less immigrants come here. And probably because Stephen Miller, who was in charge of a lot of this stuff, is just racist and doesn't like
I
immigrants.
love, I love, I love Steven. He's a great guy, very smart, very intellectual, very
Uh,
factual. That's why people on the left absolutely hate him.
are we gonna respond to like any of the actual points I made?
Huh?
Are you gonna respond to like any of the actual points I made?
That's my point. I love the guy. Um, but
Okay,
you're not hearing what I'm saying.
really.
You don't want to hear. It's
Mm-hmm.
that there was no pushback from the federal judges when Obama was doing deportation. When Trump was
That's not
doing
that.
it,
Hold on. I've
yeah,
heard you say this like 5 times, and like
exactly because you're
I think the reason
because
again, I think the reason is probably was a lot less pushback to Obama's deportations is because they were much more limited in scope. And they were targeting different types of immigrants.
that was exact, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. There was the Trump in the beginning was doing follow the same laws of the deportation. What
Why
other
didn't Trump
presidents?
say that? Why didn't he say? Why didn't he say anywhere? Unless you can
And
produce
that's what I'm
something.
trying to tell you. That was
I don't believe Trump has said anywhere ever
he
that the
said
reason I'm
he was
invoking the Alien Enemies
okay.
Act is because
If you
my
go
other
back and you
deportation efforts have
listen,
been blocked.
and if you go back and you listen, Stephen Miller, you will. This is exactly what he said. There was exactly the same laws was using before and what's in existing in the books. This is exactly what he said.
Is that? And he
But
said to be clear, the reason we're
this time,
invoking the Alien Enemies Act is
but
for this
this
reason.
time, but this time it was a bunch of federal judges who was trying to put stop on it, and that's why Trump had to go bring that political tool. That's all. If they
Okay,
would
just to be
push back,
clear,
yeah,
it wouldn't. I don't doubt that Stephen Miller has claimed something like you've claimed, where he said like there was so much pushback to
I
Trump's
don't think we
deportations,
have
but none
time
to
to go and
Obama's.
check.
I bet
We
Stephen
can,
Miller. I know like Stephen Miller would say that, but are you saying that Stephen Miller has said the
you
reason we
know what?
invoke the Alien
If
Enemies
and
Act is because
we
of
can
of the pushback?
let's do this. Okay, I really like to
I can't
talk
even
to you.
get a clear like claim for you. Are you claiming that
You
Stephen
guys
Miller
do the
said the
same thing,
reason they invoked the Alien Enemies Act?
I want to do it differently. Okay, if you don't mind,
Okay.
to another conversation where I actually get. I didn't have time, and I don't have it with me. All the facts I'm trying to tell you. Okay, So if it's going to be next time, I actually will be able to send you a link with everything I said.
Wait, I don't even
I
care
gotta
about a
bring,
source right now. I just want to be
I
clear.
gotta bring, I gotta
Is
bring
the
the
claim
facts. Each claim will have factual support.
sure? I don't even know. I don't know what claim you're making. I'm asking, is the claim that you're making? Stephen Miller
Yeah.
said that the reason they invoked the
one?
Alien Enemies Act was because the other channels for deportations were blocked.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
I don't believe
Thank
that's the
you.
case.
Your
I don't believe
English so
anyone
much
has ever.
better. Your English so much better you put it in the right way. Thank
Okay, I don't believe Stephen Miller ever said the reason, or Trump, or anyone ever said the reason they invoked the Alien Enemies Act was for that reason.
Listen.
But
Let's keep one word out of our conversation, and that word is
I don't think there's any evidence to
because
suggest that.
this is very weak argument and cannot be. If we're talking about politics, and it's what I believe, it doesn't matter.
When I say I believe something, the thing I'm saying,
We
like, I
can
haven't seen any
bring our
evidence to the
facts.
effect of.
We can bring our facts, and right now we cannot bring the facts for both our claims. We can.
But you realize you're making the positive claim.
I'll be more prepared.
Okay. I mean, you're the one making the positive claim. I'm just saying.
Okay,
I'm just saying. I don't think there's.
But let me ask you: if let's just imagine that what my claim is factual and it's true, what would be the reaction?
I still think it's bad to invoke the Alien Enemies Act in that case, just because you're like Trump would be hardcore stretching the definition of the word invasion, like foreign invasion. I think it relies on sort of false reports about Brenda Agua's connection to the Venezuelan regime, and I think it, that intelligence, whatever, has been contradicted by the Pentagon even, and I think it's like it's even if Brenda Agua was connected to the Venezuelan regime, it would still not be an invasion in the conventional sense.
If my claim is true.
If your claim is true that the reason they invoked the Alien Enemies Act is because other deportation efforts were blocked, I would still say it's bad to invoke the Alien Enemies Act, because the Alien Enemies Act grants the president a lot of power that he should only have in genuine, real emergencies, if at all, even if and we're not in one of those real, genuine emergencies.
Do you understand that there is nothing in what's the word? There is nothing in that law would apply to American citizen. It's not in French any of our or anything, and call that as some kind of trying to be authoritarian, become a dictator, a king, or whatever those.
Number one, I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'll look at. I could look it up, I guess. I'm pretty sure the Alien Enemies Act does affect citizens if they are suspected to be like allied with a foreign government in any way. I'm pretty sure when the Alien Enemies Act was initially used, like John Adams was deporting French U.S. citizens.
Okay, can you tell me how many rights or how much rights any American citizen would have if he caught to be a spying for a foreign government?
What rights he would have if he was?
How much rights? Yeah, the spy, the American citizen.
You would still be, if you were spying
for China, for example.
If you're an American citizen, you still have the right to due process. Now, the Alien Enemies Act lowers kind of the bar for what due process is. And again, the thing I'm saying here is, even if it was the case, which again, I don't think there's any evidence for, I don't believe anyone in the Trump administration has ever claimed this, that the Alien Enemies Act was only invoked because other deportation efforts were blocked. It would still be bad to invoke emergency powers that gives the president a fuck ton of power over, I believe, citizens as well as, obviously permanent residents and like illegal immigrants or whatever. When we're not in an actual emergency, the Alien Enemies Act is supposed to be used in time of invasion.
We have an emergency. We have economic emergency.
That's not what. Okay, wait. That's not what the Alien Enemies Act requires. So it's not an economic emergency. The Alien Enemies Act is supposed to be when we're at war.
Do you understand? Do you understand that the people in the country require money?
Yeah.
Can you check how much money Biden administration?
Wait, I totally memory hold this. Sorry, hold on, just real quick. The Alien Enemies Act was what we used for the Japanese internment camps, and those were American. Many of the Japanese internment people were American citizens, right? Am I making this up?
No, it's true. But guess what? They
Wait,
were
but
not.
you said that the
They
Alien
were
Enemies
not
Act didn't
sent.
apply to U.S. citizens
I
at all.
I understand. And guess what? Those people were sent in. First of all, there was the first time when the United States was dealing with this situation, and they did not send them back to Japan. They did send them to another country. They just made the area, right. There was camps made for those people,
I
and
don't.
they were
Yes,
lived where they lived for 4 years.
I recognize that, but you said that the Alien Enemies Act in no way affected citizens. But you also just told me that there were U.S. citizens who were Japanese who were
That was
interned,
an
and
active war. It was an
yes,
active.
because you're only supposed to be, and you can justify the internment of Japanese people if you want or
I
whatever.
know
What I'm
this is for
saying
the
is that you
same
made a claim. The
for
claim
the
that you
same
made
for the
was
same
that
reason.
it doesn't affect citizens at all, and
I
this is
understand,
clearly a
but
case where it
for the
affected
same reason.
citizens.
I understand, but for the same reason, the German Jews was turned away from the American shores when they were fleeing the Germany, and they came to United States. They were turned back because the American government was afraid that there was going to be a
I
lot
don't know
of.
what the fuck. Okay, do you
So
did I
this is
did hold on?
when
Did
you
I
try to
hallucinate or
apply.
not? You saying that the Alien Enemies Act in no way affected U.S. citizens?
The majority of the time, yes, absolutely.
Majority of the time. So we recognize that it does affect U.S. citizens. It does grant the president the authority to detain people if they're. I forget.
There
I
is
don't know what the
there is
exact standard
there is
is, but it's
no
like if they're
rule.
suspected of being some
There
foreign
is no
adversary.
rule without. Yeah, there is. I mean, you can't have something 100% working beautifully. There is always something, but we're talking about the majority.
Okay. So I just want listen. As long as we're saying that sometimes, like the Alien Enemies Act does grant the president the authority, like more authority over U.S. citizens. Do we think that we want the president
But
invoking
not,
emergency
it
powers
was.
that grant?
It's just so funny to, and I remember myself in my
Uh
teens and
huh.
my 20s. I was more idealistic, and I really truly believe that we can do better. The
I'm
country
not even
could.
hold on. I'm not even like super idealistic here because like I recognize during
But
war or whatever there may be
but you
cases
see
where
what I said. The most
you want the
cases you
executive
said
branch to
in
have
some
this type of power. Now I don't think we should Japanese internment camps. That might have been a step too far. I don't know, my opinion. Maybe that's too idealistic. But I'm saying in times where we're not at war, we're not being invaded by a foreign adversary. The president invoking emergency powers, which does give him power to detain U.S. citizens, like that is bad. That's authoritarian. That's king-like.
we have millions of people from other countries, many of them hostile countries to us. Many of those people are criminals, and they at our soil. I do not want those people on my streets. I
You
don't
want the
want my.
president invoking the Alien Enemies Act.
I don't want you walking in the downtown of your city. Go from the bar, go to your car, get
True.
it up. There. There is enough. We have enough bad people as it is. We don't need extra ones. When those illegal aliens will rob you, and God forbid they will only, just it would be probably the best is if they'll only rob you. But if they're gonna hurt you and maybe make you crippled for the rest of your life, and you have nothing you can do, they they're not citizen of this country.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, you can't. There's nothing you can do with them. They're not American
Are you saying
citizens.
we can't charge people who commit crimes if they're not a citizen with
Yeah,
crimes? Like
we can charge them that, but what repercussions too? You
you can
cripple.
either imprison them or deport them.
Would you prefer them in prison or deport them?
It probably depends on the crime.
So if they just rob you, but no physical harm,
I feel like I mean, unless they like actually have like some fear for their life in a country we would deport them to, it's probably good to deport them in that case.
So if somebody stole $50 of goods, it's misdemeanor. But if they stole $2,000, is that a difference?
I mean, prob probably. Like, I don't know where exactly the lines would be, but like generally, like when I'm evaluating this, I'm like, I do think immigrants positively contribute to the U.S. in many ways, and I wouldn't want someone deported. Which, by the way, deportations take a lot of money too in many cases, at least. Um, slightly less now that actually we're using planes to fly them to Sudan now, so they
You,
still
you
that takes a
understand?
lot of money. But
You
I'm
understand?
saying
You
like,
understand? You're talking to a business owner,
uh
okay?
huh. Wait, hold on.
So
I just want to when
I
I'm
can
like
tell you,
evaluating this, like
I
I'm like
I can
weighing.
tell you that any business owner, and this, and I work all my for more than 25 years. I work with the business owners.
Mhm.
Any business owner in the United States will tell you, I would rather will take any immigrant, even illegal, specifically illegal immigrant, to work for me than any American. Do you know why?
I'm assuming because you're gonna say we can pay them lower wages under the table or whatever.
This is a small part. This is a small part. But
Okay.
man, because they really work.
Oh, they have a stronger worth ethic.
But
Okay.
as they do work as I work.
Uh,
They know what it is. But this is another. But here's the thing. I'm hurting you hiring the immigrant
I mean,
because
it's not. I mean, there could be
so
cases where that's true in the individual level, right? But the immigrants benefiting, the business
everything
owner.
comes to the individual. Everything there. So we
No,
now.
wait, hold on. Wait, but you
I work
understand
with a lot of
there can be
restaurants.
benefits there can be benefits to a lot of other people that might outweigh
Do
the
you
harm to
know that
me.
that do you
Just
know
like hold on, just real
what
quick. Literally any like transaction, like when I buy like Monster Energy over Red Bull, I'm hurting Red Bull by buying Monster Energy, but I'm benefiting and Monster Energy is benefiting, and that probably outweighs the cost to Red Bull. In the same way, like immigration can just have like much broader benefits. I mean, the business owners benefiting, the
how
immigrants
much?
benefiting, and
Okay,
society as a whole can benefit insofar as there's just greater
all
economic
the
activity from the immigrants.
hold on. When immigrant buying something, he's paying only sales tax. He's
I don't.
not.
If we want to move on to the taxes immigrants pay, we
No, 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 no.
can.
This is
But
exactly what it is.
I'm just trying to lay out the principle to you that this stuff is not
So
like
you
actually
this
zero
the
sum.
principle. This is the principle of where when I working here and you working here, you're paying more than sales tax. You're paying in your pension plan, social security, tax. A lot of different stuff. The
Hold on,
the
wait. Can we can talk about taxes in a second. And like you did say, you want to talk about the economy. I want to talk about the economy too. I want to get to tariffs. I want to get to some of the stuff you said about trickle down or whatever and cutting
okay,
government spending and stuff.
okay.
But like I don't like the thing I'm saying here is that I recognize like there might be some limited individuals who are hurt by some type of immigrants, but that, like there are just general like broader benefits that would make immigration a net good, even if some specific people are hurt. Just like that's true of almost any transaction.
There is no. There is for the economy. Illegal immigration is a bad thing.
I'm I mean, I don't believe that to be the case on net. Like, I would prefer there to be like legal immigrants, and I think when people, you should probably specify
Exactly.
when you say illegal immigrants, like asylum seekers who get work authorization like within 90 days of coming to
Okay.
the U.S. or whatever. I think
Okay.
many of them are
Believe
probably a
it,
net benefit.
because I was in this system, I can tell you the true asylum immigrants, it's not that many compared to the ones who coming here for the economic reasons.
I don't entirely
So
disagree
many
with that, but
people, there's
the
no millions
the
of
ones who claim
people,
asylum, but they're like really trying to seek economic benefit. Many of those people are probably still net benefits for the economy.
99% of the immigrants who claiming asylum are not true asylum seekers by the definition. For the definition, you have to be
But they
threatened
still,
with.
but if you're an asylum seeker and like you're awaiting trial, at least pre-Trump, like if you stayed in the U.S. for 90 days or whatever, you got work authorization and you were able to work and you were able to pay taxes when you work. I think many of those people are probably net benefits to the U.S. economy. I think the evidence we have
You
suggests
have
that.
to. No,
What do you mean, no?
no, it's not true because it's hurting your salary. I want to again. We Here's the perfect example. The cooks in the restaurant used to make $12, $15 an hour.
Uh-huh.
You want to check how much they're making now?
I don't need to because I have like we can just look at the much broader evidence of the
Because
effect of
there is a
immigration on wages
lot of
if that's what
illegals.
you're concerned about.
There is a My man. This is this is this is fact. You can't prove me wrong because I live in this industry.
That's fine, but like I'm not gonna take like your anecdote
No,
about
but
how
this
much
is a
cooks are
small
paid now.
example.
Wait, hold on.
But
I'm
this
just
is a
I'm not gonna
small
take that
example.
over like the actual much more solid evidence you have. And like if you look into the evidence of the effect of immigration on wages, it seems like if you measure it like within what like national skill cells or whatever, like within subsets of people, there are cases where like an influx of immigrants will lower wages for a specific industry or like some specific like skill set of people. But overall, if you look at the spatial effect, like the effects of immigrants on wages tend to be positive or zero. And even in the longer run, the sort of it tends to be pretty close to
I
zero.
truly believe that legal immigration, that's what made this country great.
Hmm.
Legal.
But like, why? If you're just talking about the effect of immigration on wages, it doesn't matter that much if they're legal or illegal, right?
What do you mean?
I mean,
How's that?
like
What? There is no difference.
with regards to the just impact on wages, there might be some difference in that sometimes illegal immigrants can be paid below minimum wage. But for the people we're talking about here, that shouldn't even matter because these are people with work authorization while they're like awaiting a trial, and you know
So,
that.
so, so the last time, I think it was about months ago, there was interesting article I read where it says the people who are on welfare program, there's like four, 4 or 5 million people.
Mhm.
Uh, they're estimating that anywhere between 1.2 to 1.5 million of them it's able body to work.
Okay.
This is the people. Okay, I can find that article and I can bring it, but
Like
these
why
people
what
cannot
is the
find any
relevance?
work.
I don't know how we immediately went from the effect of immigration and wages with me like citing like I can cite some actual studies if you want. Like there's one that was just published like in the American Economic Review or whatever. Like it was like a pretty big study. They was looking at like the last 100 years, like the county level impact of immigration and wage, and it's found like I think it was like a five, or I think it was like a slight positive increase in wages over like a 5 year time span
You
for counties
understand
or
that?
on the county level or
You
whatever.
understand? You
But
understand
I
how
don't know
much
how we went from that
people we need?
immediately to people on
You need.
welfare are like lazy
You
and
need
not
to
working.
understand. Yeah, I don't know how we slipped to that, but
Well, you're the
compare.
one that just randomly brought it up. I just like talked about the like actual evidence with the immigration effect on wages, and then you just went to
I'm trying to bring the to to the bottom. Just actual what's happening with the businesses, with the illegal immigrants. What How is it hurting economy to have illegal immigrants in working for the American business? It's
okay.
hurting American people, specifically the ones at the bottom.
Um, so there again, I feel like I've already laid out my position on this, but like there are cases where certain subsets of people can be hurt by like a sudden inflow of immigrants or whatever, in a sense that their wages might decrease or whatever. I don't think the effects are like actually that big. Like even even like the sort of better evidence I think from the like the Cuban Mariel boat lift or whatever, I think shows the
Mhm.
effect was pretty small. But like it, when he talk about like whatever your experience with businesses or whatever, I'm just gonna weight that evidence a lot less than like economists who like look at like actual like actual data and then do like actual causal inference from it. Like they
And that's
compare.
what I'm trying to, and that's what I was trying to say early. I'm not 100% prepared uh, to back up all my claims with the facts. If not, next time we're gonna talk, I will make sure I have that ready. Because what the stuff, what I'm saying, the claims I do, this is something I actually was debating on a Facebook, a lot of people, and I had to, before I would made that claim, I would do research on it. So it's not something I just come up and taken from my head. Now, I
Okay.
will talk about the factual stuff.
Well, look, I guess if we want to move, because we're probably running a little short on time or whatever, but if we want to move to the economy a little bit, I mean, the thing you initially, I think, talked with Luke Beasley about was
How much
it,
time? How much more time we have?
I mean, I'm not gonna hold you hostage or anything. I think I said, we talked for an hour, between an hour and 2 hours or whatever, probably like 90 minutes, and we've been going for an hour and
Right.
15 minutes right now. So, I mean, if
You
you have to
know,
know,
maybe I sorry, I didn't do much research on you and the what kind of conversation, how you conduct yourself and all that. Um, so I see. First of all, I really enjoy to talk to you. Okay, you're polite and you bring good arguments, and it's just really a pleasure to talk to you. Compared
sure.
to some of the people, they just go. These crazy people. I don't know why we can't. We have a discussion. We disagree, but there is no anger. And you smile. It's all good. And it's perfect.
Oh wait,
Good.
it's just like,
Wow.
do you have to go now, or do we have a little bit more time? 'Cause
How much time do you need?
I guess I don't know, maybe like 15. We get like 15 minutes. Just
Can we make another? Okay. Can I 10 minutes? Please.
Hi.
hi. I mean, if you have to go, that's fine. I was just gonna
No,
follow up
he
a little
doesn't
bit.
have to go. He doesn't have to go. I enjoy when he's not working. This guy is workaholic. So whatever he does, there is a game or debate or anything. It's all good. I appreciate it. I just heard a part of a conversation. Met someone who came over to United States through Mexico, and I asked him, "Did you come this way?" And he said, "I came this way." And I said,
There's not.
what do you think about the?" I saw that a lot of young Chinese people come, and I thought it was a good thing. Young Chinese people, I thought they
Listen,
were living
we're done with immigration.
communist party and coming here bringing brain. And he said they are all military. He was there. And he said they're all military spies and stuff. So I want you guys to research and let me know, is it true or not?
I love you.
I love you too. Mhm. I'm curious. You told me they're not young Chinese professionals.
My advice to all young people: if you whatever you decide to get married, call me.
Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind. Just as like a last thing, I was curious because like the initial thing you went to talk to Luke Beasley about or whatever was about the economy, was about, I think, Trump tariffs is where you started. So I mean, I
This
think,
is more interesting, topic. I think it's more
sure. I
good
guess
point.
you know you said the number one thing for you is the economy. So I'm very curious to hear how you think tariffs have at all helped the economy, because I think overwhelmingly the evidence suggests that they are negative for the economy.
So a lot of people don't see the total picture. And what I mean by that to putting tariffs, uh, he also bringing investments in United States. Now, we're all here. We'll hear the numbers. It's 50 billion, 20 billion, 1 trillion, all these numbers. Now, a lot of people missing point that they don't understand that this is not um, just money going to the bank. This is an investment to build the factories. This is the money to start new enterprises and and just the businesses coming to United States to actually produce product from here. So in conjunctions with the tariffs, with the investment, that's where you will see it will take probably another 8 months. Maybe I know you're laughing. I can see that, but you know
It's just
what?
8 months
I
until.
wanna. I had very many conversations on the first term of Trump.
Hmm.
Everybody was laughing like that. The people who doesn't understand the economy.
Okay.
Guess
I
what?
think.
When he dropped the rate, the tax, corporate tax from 37 to 21%. He actually wanted to 18, and brought all this company back to United States with the 16, 18 months, and you can fact check me on it. The economy was roaring before the COVID hit. We were like never before.
Okay, so just on the
Right.
corporate tax cut thing, like I'm not a fan of corporate taxes. My ideal world, we would not have a corporate tax. We would have some like a better type of consumption tax. I think it's like a DBCFT. I think it's probably the equivalent I would replace it with. But I don't think it's necessarily the case that the corporate tax cut that Trump did, was the
Just use it
cause.
an example because people were laughing when I was saying exactly the same thing of what Trump's economic vision, and everybody was laughing, saying, "No, it's never going to happen." No,
Well, I'll get to a little bit why I was laughing, but I don't think it's the case that the corporate tax cut that Trump passed or whatever is
let
sort of
me,
the
let me,
causal mechanism
let
behind a
me
lot of that growth.
about tariffs. Let me ask you:
Well,
Do
yeah,
you think
just real quick. Hold on, I want to run through some of the things. So just
tariffs?
part of the reason I think tariffs are bad, to be clear, is because in many cases they operate not totally unlike a corporate tax. Obviously, like most of the goods that the U.S. imports, around 50 to 60%, are intermediate goods or goods that companies
This
import
right
to make other
now,
products.
right now, do you understand that in business and economic decisions, it's not something start working tomorrow. When you're opening the business, even what you do now, this is
Hmm.
your right.
I guess.
Okay, so how much money you had to invest to open your business?
Like, I mean, to open it, technically, I don't think I invested much, but I need my computer and stuff or whatever. But like that's all made harder. That like all this stuff is made harder by tariffs because most of the stuff
200,
is imported,
okay, the microphone, right, the computer,
which is all made in other countries.
it's besides the point.
But you
But you have
recognize tariffs are going to reduce the amount of investment that happens because you're raising the price of investment. You're raising the price of starting your own business, buying a bunch of goods to start your business. In a lot of ways, again, it's not unlike a corporate tax in that it's taxing investment, it's taxing capital
okay.
goods.
Well, will you say that you spend like $800?
I mean, over time, it's been more than that, but yeah, sure. I mean,
Okay. How long it took you to recoup those money and start making profit?
probably like well, it took a little bit to get monetized, I guess. So it depends. Starting from when I was monetized, probably like 2 months, but counting the time it took to get monetized, probably like a year.
Exactly. It's usually take, the economic model, how long it takes you can, I mean, you're on a smaller scale than somebody who has to rent a warehouse or a
Hmm.
retail place, and you have to, put all the stuff in the product and everything. It takes about 18 months to turn around, 18 to 2 years to start making money on an investment, just to start breaking in. Okay,
Sure.
so
It's going to take
the-
longer with tariffs when everything
do
I
you,
import from my
do
business is
you,
more expensive and growth is lower overall.
yeah, do you know how many businesses Trump owns?
I don't.
1012, I think.
Okay, I'll assume that's true, but all right. Kind of weird that he owns them as a president, but regardless.
Okay, all those. Nobody talking about all these successful businesses employing hundreds of thousands, then tens of thousands of people. Everybody just remember when there was 3 or 4 bankruptcies, which is he summarized, he uh, paid off, and the same banks who was bankruptcy was Chapter 11 and Chapter 13 was under, was happily the money again.
I don't care. Maybe Trump's
Okay.
an excellent, great
But
businessman.
I wasn't sure.
Fine, whatever. But I think
So,
we have every reason to believe
yeah.
that tariffs have historically hurt and are currently
Hold on,
hurting
hold on, hold on.
businesses.
It's not my comment. It's not my claim. It's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm talking about that the person who is running over 1,000 businesses, successful businesses, every day for many years. Don't you think the what you think about the tariffs, he would probably was thinking through. In the complex
I don't know.
combination,
It's hard to actually get into Trump's mind because when he says like flatly like false things about tariffs, when he
I'm
repeatedly
talking about,
misunderstands what trade
would
deficits
you,
are.
okay, let me ask you, would you trust somebody to run economy of the country to politician or a business owner?
I mean, all else equal, probably a business owner, but I don't trust Trump because Trump talks like a like retard on all these issues. Like Trump almost always lies about who pays tariffs. Trump has never given a coherent like answer to what a trade deficit actually is.
Do you want to call yourself, okay, what is your dream? Are you want to become like a journalist or what?
I don't know exactly what I'll do. Probably do something economics related, really. But,
You like economics?
yeah.
Okay, not journalism.
No, probably not.
Okay, with economics, I mean it's kind of hard because it was funny. Last year I met one journalist. We had a conversation. Interesting. Um, I, of course, he was a Democrat, but it was interesting. I asked him, when you were in college, have you thought that you're gonna be? Are you were thinking? Are you gonna? What kind of journalist are you gonna be? Are you gonna be independent, where it doesn't matter who's on the left or the right, but just for the actual factual truth? He got to thinking because he became totally different person when he got into politics. And the economy is the same thing. You can turn some numbers around and see
Okay,
that.
but it seems like overwhelmingly the evidence suggests that tariffs are like negative. Like you can look at study from Trump's first term and the tariffs he imposed then. They all find that like they reduce employment even within the manufacturing sector. They reduce
I don't know
manufacturing
where it's
employment.
looking. The economy before the COVID hit, we had the economy
You can say the
roaring.
economy overall was booming, but tariffs like, had a negative
It was
effect on it,
booming.
right?
It was booming big time.
But you
And
acknowledge like we can have a booming economy and still do bad policy in that booming economy. Trump didn't impose like super incredibly high tariffs in his first term, so he's like the tariffs he did in his first term were not going to literally tank the entire economy. But the ones he did have negative effects. They raised
let me
prices for
ask you,
consumers. They decreased
do
total
you,
employment. Even within the manufacturing sector, they decreased employment because they raised the
you
cost
know,
of steel, which many
we have,
manufacturers rely on.
there is nothing personal. This is just starting. Okay, it's only 9 months. You know,
Wait, but
we.
I'm citing not stuff
But
from this term. I can if you want with regards to some of the
but
things,
here's,
but
let me ask you. Let me
this is
ask you.
over. Wait, hold on, this is over multiple years during his first term, and there's evidence historically, like just from other countries historically who have imposed tariffs. Like the
It's just
IMF did
so
a
funny.
huge study where they looked at
It's just
151
so funny
countries
to
over the
see.
course of 50
Because
years, and they found tariffs reduce employment, they reduce
it's
productivity,
just
they
so
reduce
funny
growth.
to see the history repeating itself. It's
Okay.
all over again. I'm history buff, and it's so much easier to see the future when you know the past. But anyway, um, this conversation we can come back in a year, and we will know the facts. But I want to
But
ask you very
we already have studies on the effects of tariffs, the causal effects of tariffs, not just in the U.S. but
This
in
is
other countries
exactly the
too.
same effects people were calling when he dropped the corporate tax, and there was a lot less money coming into the government because of the tax. It was exactly the same argument.
But
But my
the number, I mean,
question is,
again, I don't think you can say that that like that was
this is
necessarily
exactly
causal.
what happened because this is exactly what they were saying because it was such a huge drop. The government will go broke because all this money will coming in from
Well, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act did increase the deficit. You can say it also led to growth, but it did increase the
temporary.
deficit.
It was yes, it was in temporary. There was investment. That's what allowed so many.
But overall, it still decreased. It still increased the deficit, even though despite that investment, right? Like
we can't, COVID really screwed up everything, so it's going to be very hard to prove either way. But
we have a lot of non-COVID years.
You cannot deny the economy was booming before the
we had a good economy under
no
for the most part until COVID.
No, not good. No. It was booming. It wasn't good.
We like
the Clinton.
It wasn't. I don't. So when you say booming, like it was booming, like it was a good economy. Like it continually improved under Trump until COVID, but it wasn't like.
Let me ask you.
It wasn't like we experienced some massive increase in growth or anything. It was just like mostly, slow recovery from the Great Recession
compared to from the Obama policies, what the strings he put on the banks and the business, economy was booming compared to.
I like.
But
Obama,
let me ask you.
It took the economy a while to fully recover from the Great Recession. To some extent, Obama.
No. Don't go there. Don't go there. I'm gonna bury you with that. I have conversations with that. Don't go there. Seriously. But I have another question.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
tell me.
I think the economy eventually got better under Trump than it was under Obama and stuff. Now, I don't think presidents generally have that much control over the economy.
No. The first thing when the first term when the Trump came in, he took so many policies Obama put on the banks, on the monetary, and the businesses. This is 100% true because of what happened after 2008, and that's when Obama came. He just put.
Well, the crisis happened before Obama was in office, right?
He put so much strings on the banks. They could not. None of the business could get any freaking loan. It was terrible. But besides the point, I want to ask you: do you think?
I'm just saying, so I think, by the way, generally speaking, the president doesn't have that much control over the economy. Now, Trump has kind of changed that a little bit with regards to him unilaterally imposing a very high amount of tariffs. But
I made my claim because I know that for sure would happen because none of businesses, including myself, when we went to the bank.
But it's very. We didn't see
to get the business loan. There was, and the bankers were telling us that's exact thing, which I read before. And that's what they were saying, exactly the same thing. The Obama administration, read Obama, that's the ones who put restrictions on the loans. And that's what crippled the economy. That's why we could not open second location. We could not hire more. We could not get the loan to bring our businesses to the next level. The first thing when Trump came in, he eliminated those.
Sure, but so even if that is the case, which by a lot of the stuff Obama passed was legislation, so Trump can't just unilaterally get rid of that.
No.
Regardless, the thing I'm saying is, I acknowledge we had a good economy under Trump, but it's not like we saw we saw pretty standard growth during Trump's first term. It wasn't like an explosion of growth or anything.
I want to ask you about tariffs. Do you believe that before Trump came in, the tariffs we have with other countries and the tariffs have on us and with tariffs we have on them, was that a fair tariffs practice?
I like they were much more fair than Trump suggests, but I like that's not super relevant to the analysis that I'm doing because I'm just kind of analyzing whether or not there's been a net gain from imposing, the president unilaterally imposing these tariffs
Hold
on
on,
a
hold on,
ton of
hold on,
countries.
hold on. You saying it was more fair?
Much more fair than Trump has ever suggested. Yes. And I don't believe he's gotten us into a better
Okay,
position
okay. Can you
with
tell me?
the
Can you tell me? Can you tell me what your opinion UE tariffs was on American-made product?
I believe it was 1.64% along those lines.
How much?
You said the EU, right?
Yeah.
I believe it was about 1.64%.
What it was? Can you check on it?
Um, yeah,
And
I'm
what
gonna
did
go
we
to the
have?
World Bank website and pull up the graph, and it's gonna say something along the lines
And
of
what
one
did we
point.
have on us?
What did we have on us? What?
What product when they were bringing? What they were bringing? Sorry. Ah, shit. I have to go. Okay. So you believe that the tariffs, the tariffs, what we have before Trump came in was if more fair than it's now?
From yeah, I mean, I believe so. Yes, but also like that's not super. I mean, the thing I was saying is like the fairness is a weird term to me because like I don't really know what it means for trade to be fair or unfair. I just know what it means for trade to be like a net benefit or not a net benefit. And I think trade was
Okay.
definitely net benefit.
If we okay, well, let's talk about our neighbor Canada, right?
Wait, hold on. I just want to be clear. The thing I'm looking at right now from the
Yeah.
World Bank or whatever, the tariff rate, the weighted mean of all products on like the US or whatever, it's like 1.33 for the EU. So that's not very high.
Okay. I have I have to cut short, my man.
Okay,
Um,
no worries.
um, the you know that most countries had after World War II, and there was Marshall Plan, to bring the Europe and other countries out that we had favorable for them for the American product. You know that, right?
Yeah, but we also after World War II
Yeah.
had a lot of just tariff, like reciprocal tariff cutting rounds because we had the general
We
agreement
have
on taxes and
practically
trade.
we practically have I think it was 1%, between 1 to 2% on any product coming in. But
Yeah,
any
but
country,
but we also the reason the U.S. cut tariffs a lot was oftentimes because we other countries also agreed to cut tariffs on us. So we did that with GATT and we did that with the World Trade Organization. We had a bunch of tariff cutting rounds.
that was
Um,
before World Trade. That was before that. We actually did a favor to other countries and actually to protect those countries from the American business because the American business could swallow everything back then in Europe and Middle
well,
East
I
and all.
I know that I am aware that GATT was before the
Yes,
World Trade
right, right, right.
Organization. Believe it or
But it
not,
is.
I'm saying that after World War
Right
II
now,
we had.
you have to agree that we have a huge trade deficit pretty much with almost
Yeah, but I
every.
don't think that's reflective of the sort of. I don't think that's reflective of the tariffs that other countries
Okay,
place on us. I think that's reflective of the fact that we have a low
before we
savings rate in the
finish,
U.S.
okay, we have a huge trade deficit with almost every
Hmm.
country. Fact, fact. We broke right now.
Wait, hold on. Just
Uh, we,
you recognize that
we
the trade deficit is offset by an investment inflow, right?
I'm just talking about that we cannot afford the things we could afford 15, 20 years ago.
I don't believe that's the case for the median American, and I don't believe the trade deficit has any effect on that, regardless.
Absolutely, it does. Because if you can, as a country, you cannot fairly trade with a country who is opposed tariffs on your product. But
The
that
trade
kind
deficit doesn't reflect that,
of
nor does it. Nor does it like.
we have a huge trade deficit, and that was all allowed for decades to go this way. And that was fine when we have a strong economy, we had money, that's fine. But right now, we as a country need help. We cannot keep doing it because every year we're going deeper and deeper in debt.
What's the
Something
reason the trade deficit is bad exactly, and like reflects that Americans
it's
are.
all together because there is we cannot get out of the debt right now because of those trade deficits we have.
How is
We
that?
need
That's not true. That's
we need to start selling our own product, and that what we're gonna have the next year. We're gonna have a
we
lot more.
recognize the trade deficit is entirely offset by a capital account surplus, by other countries buying, in many cases, our debt, even, but by other countries investing in the U.S. They buy U.S. assets, right?
Yeah, of course I know. And China is one of the biggest, well, actually the biggest holder of our paper. I'm coming.
So why would so like why is it impossible to escape our debt when the trade deficit just reflects the fact that there's a lot of investment coming into the U.S.?
Hold on, one more time.
Why is it like why do trade deficits make it impossible for us to escape our debt when the trade deficit is simply reflecting that there's a lot of investment coming into the U.S.? Like, why would we make ourselves poorer by having like a overall less efficient allocation of resources via tariffs?
Why
How would that
would
help us escape our debt?
those investments coming to build factories? It's not to build the BlackRock or Vanguard.
Sure, but that's what
This
I mean by a less efficient allocation of resources, right? Because we'd be taking resources away from more productive sectors to build like factories here, when that's not the most efficient
and
allocation.
that's where we're coming to the legal immigration. That's
I don't
what
know. I don't know why we go back to illegal immigration. I
because
would say,
this is the plan.
like,
This is the plan, and if you research, you will see that it's already there is a talk in the Trump administration when we're gonna have a shortage of the labor, and not just the labor. It's almost in the research that talking about legal immigration to bring the talent to United States.
uh-huh. I mean,
You
Trump
need
seems
to understand.
intent
People
on getting
find
rid of like
people
H-1Bs and stuff too.
I
But
don't
okay.
know. I don't know why people take Trump so personally. Whatever he does, he just because it's Trump. They can't go past just see the whole picture. The whole picture to
The whole picture here doesn't. None of it
yeah.
makes sense. You're saying like the trade deficit somehow make it impossible to pay off our debt, and again, I was saying trade like imposing tariffs is going to make us overall poorer, because to the extent that you're incentivizing domestic investment or whatever, you're leading to a less efficient
Yeah.
allocation of resources where we're
Let's do
not
this.
exploiting the gains from trade,
Let's-
and overall
uh,
growth is going to be lower. Why wouldn't we do a much more
I
efficient tax
see.
that
I
doesn't have those
see
same
how.
problems?
I just see. I just see how I need to conduct my conversation with you. I have to be more factual, and we're not gonna prove that much. I don't know if you agreed at least at something what I was saying. I'm not sure about that, but I see the person who take the facts over claims, right? Like anybody.
I mean,
You follow me?
like
So,
yeah, when I'm
so
evaluating
what I
stuff,
have, I want to have another. I want to have another conversation with you, and the
sure.
next conversation, I will be more prepared. So we're not going to say I believe, I don't believe, I'm not taking this. There is a fact. This is the data. If you want to fight the data, that's different. Okay, bring something different than it. But if I bring the facts, with the labor statistics or with any other the either government or reputable not something blogger said, whatever the actual data from from the official or reputable newspapers, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we can talk about, I think it's going to be more productive.
Sure. If you want to set up another conversation, we can. But we have been going for almost 2 hours here, and I know you probably have to
Is
go.
that
So you can give
2 hours? My
almost two
granddaughter
hours.
is knocking. She can.
Yeah, yeah. You can give a outro. You
Sorry,
can.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
If you have
really
anything,
enjoyed this conversation, and I see, like for example, on the Facebook, a lot of times I have time when I'm responding to somebody, I can do research, I can bring my facts, and here I just don't have it in front of me to support my claims with any facts, and I would love to have that. So we will have more productive conversation.
sure, yeah, I can reach out again and we'll
Sounds
set
good.
something up. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
I
but
really appreciate your time. I have fun,
yeah.
and I think it was. I mean, it's cool.
Well, I had fun too. I'm sure we can set something up again later on. But yeah, I'll let you, I'll
Yeah,
let you go. Yeah,
reach out to me and give me just a little bit more time because I am workaholic and I work a lot, so I need to make sure the time and topics so I can bring my claims and back them with the facts. I think that would be a lot more fun, you know,
sure.
talk this way. Cool.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. One more time, I enjoyed our conversation and reach out to me, get ready for another time.
yeah. Well, I enjoyed it too. Yeah, I'm sure I'll we'll talk to each other later. I appreciate it,
Okay. Make America great again.
bro.
And
Oh shit, he started saying something again. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, bro. I don't know how I'm supposed to interact with some of that stuff, bro. What am I supposed to? Also, welcome back, Dylan. Welcome back. Grassroots Hegemon, welcome back. Sauce Rama and everyone else that I saw in chat. I don't even. We shifted topics a lot after I'd make like an actual point. Like what? I don't know if you heard the words I was saying at the time, bro. Oh my god. Like the shit about like the Alien Enemies Act meeting. Like, hey, I think Obama Trump's deportations are different because Trump is invoking the Alien Enemies Act. That's something that we obviously did not see Trump do, or sorry, Obama do. And he's like, well, they're no different. I'm like, well, I'm explaining to you a reason why I think they're different. And the fact that I don't even think he could repeat back to me like what I said was different between them. Lord, infinite suffering, true. I bet Reynold has better stuff in the Obama deportation stupid shit than I do because I never did like a ton of research on that. It's my understanding that like the expedited removal proceedings, like they still have. I think one, it's only. I don't think the expedited removal stuff ever applied to people who are in the country for multiple years. I believe that like only applied to people who were either like criminals or like very recently came over the border. Um, and I believe you still had like some. There was still like some board. Your mic is fucking up. Oh no, what's wrong with it? Is it like staticky or something? Or I'm crazy. You're always crazy. 300 billion integrated circuits, refined petroleum, some gold and vaccines. I don't really know. Croatia. It was not Croatia. Oh, is it one of the? It's gonna be like some island bullshit. Not gonna be. It's not. New Zealand's not that far, or New Zealand's further than that, right? So it's gotta be like. Maybe it's like. Maybe it's bro, tanks and armored vehicles too. Madagascar. I think Madagascar's probably too far as well, but bro, it is gonna be some island. I don't know, like bullshit off of Australia, isn't it? 300 billion's a lot though. New Zealand? Does New Zealand have make this shit? Nope. Yeah, that's way too far. Fuck, kill me. I bet Cambodia makes them take 300 billion. It's a lot. Maybe Cambodia had. No, there's no way Cambodia had 300 billion exports, right? Oh, you know what? It's probably one of the fucking Dons or whatever, isn't it? Maybe not. 9,000 kilometers, still pretty far. Maybe it is fucking Cambodia, bro. Malaysia? How do you spell Malaysia? Fuck. Singapore? Oh my god. That makes sense, I guess. Yeah, I wasn't. Oh, fuck. Dude, I could have. If I remembered Singapore was the thing, I could have guessed Singapore, bro. Oh, kill me. Okay. I think we're gonna do more welfare memes, more not just snap memes, but other welfare too, inequality memes. And I know people want me to read the fucking stuff about gripers and Republicans. Because that's that. But tomorrow we're talking to the other Jubilee dude about similar stuff. Hopefully that's not as autistic of a conversation. I don't think it will be. It shouldn't be at the very least. It shouldn't be. I'm expecting it not to be. We'll see though. I don't know. I need to do some bullshit about snap diets too, but it just seems so silly. It just seems so stupid. Or maybe not so stupid or whatever, but I don't know. It just seems like not the biggest thing you should focus on with snap. But I guess there are some people out there who just really hold a position that snap would be good if only we made sure it didn't cover soda. If only it only covered the Nutriloaf guys. I think this had some stuff in it, but I know I'm seeing people cite contradictory evidence to the whatever she cites in here about like, oh, SNAP people actually seem to have similar diets as like non-SNAP recipients. I should probably